Welcome back, everyone. Ready for a deep dive into a field that's more fascinating than you might think. Today, we're unraveling the world of textile chemistry.
And let me tell you, it's a lot more than just mixing colorful dyes in a lab, though that's definitely part of it.
It is, but where do we even begin? I have to admit, my knowledge of textile chemistry is pretty limited. I know it involves fabrics and colors, but beyond that, I'm drawing a blank.
You're in the right place. We're going beyond the surface today. Think of textile chemistry as the bridge between science and style.
I like that. So it's where those precise chemical reactions create the clothes we wear, the carpets we walk on.
Exactly. It's about understanding the properties of different fibers, whether that's natural fibers like cotton and wool or synthetics like polyester and nylon.
Okay, so it's about understanding the materials, but how do those materials actually become the fabrics and textiles we use every day?
That's where things get really interesting. Textile chemists are involved in every step of the process, from developing new fibers and dyes
Don't leave me hanging.
to figuring out how to treat those fabrics so they resist wrinkles, repel stains, or even wick away moisture.
It's amazing to think about how much science goes into something as seemingly simple as a t-shirt.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just about the chemistry itself. Textile chemists need a deep understanding of the manufacturing processes involved in turning those raw materials into finished products.
So they're not just working in labs, they're out on the factory floor too.
Absolutely. They work closely with engineers and technicians to ensure those chemical processes are running smoothly and efficiently.
So problem solving is a big part of the job.
Oh, definitely. Textile production can be complex, with lots of different variables at play. A textile chemist might need to troubleshoot issues with dyeing, figure out why a fabric isn't meeting quality standards.
So it's a fast-paced, dynamic field then?
It can be, especially with the constant push for innovation. The textile industry is always looking for ways to create new and improved materials.
New and improved, like what? Give me some examples.
Well, think about athletic wear that keeps you cool and dry, or fabrics that change color with temperature. Those are just a couple of examples.
Wow, so textile chemistry is actually on the cutting edge. I never would have guessed. So you've got these brilliant minds in the lab cooking up new ideas, but then they have to make sure those ideas can actually be produced on a large scale.
Exactly. And that's where those communication and problem-solving skills become even more crucial.
Because they have to explain those complex chemical processes to the people actually running the machines.
Exactly. It's all about bridging the gap between the lab and the factory floor.
So it sounds like textile chemistry is a field that requires both scientific expertise and people skills. You need to be a bit of a chemist, a bit of an engineer, and a bit of a communicator.
You got it. And, it's not just about creating new fabrics either. Sustainability is a huge focus in the industry right now. Consumers are more aware than ever of the environmental impact of their clothing choices.
Which brings up a really important question. How is the field of textile chemistry adapting to this demand for sustainability?
That's a question a lot of people are asking, and it's a challenge that textile chemists are taking head on. They're exploring new ways to reduce water and energy consumption during production.
That's great to hear. So they're finding ways to make the entire process more eco-friendly, from the raw materials to the final product.
Exactly. And they're developing new, sustainable materials, like fabrics made from recycled plastic bottles, or plant-based alternatives to conventional cotton.
Okay, now we're talking. Sustainable fashion that's actually fashionable. This is all incredibly interesting.
It is, and it really highlights how important textile chemistry is in our world.
Absolutely. It's a field that often flies under the radar, but touches so many aspects of our lives. So what does the career path of a textile chemist look like? I mean, where do you even start?
Well, most aspiring textile chemists start with a strong foundation in, you guessed it, chemistry. A bachelor's degree in textile chemistry, or a related field is typically the first step.
And what comes after that? Are we talking internships, entry-level positions? What does that journey look like?
You got it. Many students pursue internships while they're still in school to gain practical experience in the field. It's a chance to apply those textbook concepts to real-world scenarios.
I bet those internships are competitive.
They can be, but
Yeah.
they're incredibly valuable not just for building skills, but for making connections in the industry.
So networking is key, even early on.
Absolutely. Because it's not just about what you know, it's who you know, or at least who knows about you and your passion for textiles.
That makes sense. So you're saying it's not enough to just be a whiz in the lab. You also need to be able to sell yourself and your ideas.
Precisely. And that's a skill that's developed over time through things like presentations at conferences, publishing research papers, even just being active in professional organizations.
You've mentioned professional organizations a couple of times now. Are those really that important for someone interested in a textile chemistry career?
They can be invaluable. Organizations like the AATCC, that's the American Association of Textile Chemists and Colorists, offer incredible opportunities for networking, professional development, and staying up to date on the latest advancements in the field.
So it's not just about joining for the resume booster, it's about actively engaging with the community and learning from the best.
Exactly. It's a chance to connect with mentors, potential employers, and others who share your passion for the world of textiles.
This is all great advice for anyone listening who might be considering a career in textile chemistry. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What does a typical day look like for a textile chemist? All right, so we've talked about the skills, the education, the importance of networking. But now I'm really curious, what does a day in the life of a textile chemist actually look like?
Well, picture this. You're in a state-of-the-art lab, surrounded by beakers, test tubes, and all sorts of high-tech equipment.
Okay, I'm picturing it. It sounds a bit like a scene from a sci-fi movie. But what am I actually doing in this lab? What's on my agenda for the day?
Your day might involve developing a new type of fabric for, let's say, athletic wear.
Ooh, athletic wear. That's a market with some serious innovation happening right now. So how do I, as a textile chemist, contribute to that?
You might be experimenting with different fibers, trying to create a material that's both breathable and moisture-wicking, but also durable enough to withstand intense workouts.
So a lot of trial and error, I imagine, trying different combinations, seeing what works.
Exactly. You'd be testing different formulations, analyzing their properties using sophisticated instruments.
I bet those instruments are pretty impressive.
Oh, they can be amazing. You might use a machine to measure the tensile strength of a fiber, or another one to analyze its chemical composition.
It's amazing to think that we can break down materials at such a microscopic level.
It is, and that level of precision is crucial in textile chemistry. You might spend hours, even days, perfecting a single formula.
It sounds like a job that requires a lot of patience and attention to detail.
It definitely does. But it's also incredibly rewarding when you finally crack the code and create that perfect fabric.
And I imagine there's a lot of collaboration involved too, right? Bouncing ideas off colleagues, working together to solve problems.
Absolutely. Textile chemistry is rarely a solo endeavor. You'll be working closely with other scientists, engineers, even designers, to bring those innovative ideas to life.
So it's a very interdisciplinary field. You're not just stuck in a lab by yourself all day.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that makes it so interesting. You're constantly learning from others, sharing knowledge, and working together towards a common goal.
Now, I know we talked earlier about how textile chemists aren't just confined to the lab. They're also involved in the manufacturing process. So let's say I've developed this amazing new fabric for athletic wear. What happens next? How do I get it from the lab to the factory floor?
That's where those communication and problem-solving skills we talked about earlier become even more critical.
Because you have to explain those complex processes to the people who are actually going to be producing the fabric on a large scale.
Exactly. You have to be able to translate those scientific concepts into clear, concise instructions that everyone can understand.
And I imagine there are always unexpected challenges that pop up when you're scaling up production from a lab setting to a full-blown factory.
Oh, absolutely. A process that worked perfectly fine in the lab might hit a snag when you try to replicate it on a larger scale.
So you need to be able to think on your feet, troubleshoot problems, and come up with solutions quickly.
You got it. And sometimes those solutions involve collaborating with other experts, like engineers or technicians. It's all about teamwork and finding the best way to bring those innovative ideas to market.
It sounds like a dynamic and fast-paced environment, but also incredibly rewarding, knowing that you're playing a role in creating the fabrics that people will wear and use every day. And speaking of creating fabrics, let's shift gears a bit and talk about a topic that's becoming increasingly important in the textile industry: sustainability. It's incredible to think that we could be wearing clothes made from recycled materials or plants in the near future.
It's not science fiction. It's the future of fashion. And it's being driven by the creativity and ingenuity of textile chemists.
It sounds like they really are the unsung heroes of the fashion industry, working behind the scenes to make sure our clothes are not only stylish, but also sustainable.
Exactly. They're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible, exploring new materials, new technologies, and new ways of thinking about textile production.
This entire deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me. I had no idea how much innovation and complexity went into the world of textile chemistry.
It's a field that often gets overlooked, but it touches every aspect of our lives, from the clothes we wear to the furniture we sit on.
It's true, and it's a field that's only going to become more important as we grapple with the challenges of sustainability and environmental responsibility.
Absolutely. Textile chemists hold the key to creating a more sustainable future for fashion, and that's incredibly exciting.
It is. And it gives me hope for a future where we can all look good and feel good about the clothes we're wearing, knowing they were made with both style and sustainability in mind.
That's a future worth striving for.
Well said. It's been an absolute pleasure picking your brain about the fascinating world of textile chemistry. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to all our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive as much as we have. Until next time, keep those curious minds engaged, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.